Are we live? We're live. Hey, everybody. Good morning. Welcome to the first ever Monday Morning Motivator meeting. If there's enough M&Ms in there for you. I'm so glad to welcome you guys to this new series that we're going to be doing every Monday, rain or shine, wind, snow, sleet, hail. I'm like the postman here for you every Monday at 10 a.m. Eastern, right here. We're going to be doing a Monday Motivator sales and success and, entrepreneurship, business motivator type meeting to get you through the week and fuel you to your goals so you can launch your sales. So today I'm going to tell you a little bit about who I am and why we're doing this and how we're going to do this. Typically, it's going to be a 30-minute meeting, but today it might be a little bit longer because I'm going to share with you a little bit more in detail as we go through the different parts of the meeting. So just to start, if you don't know me already, I'm Jessica Magoch, CEO of JPM Sales Partners. I used to hate sales. Can't say I hate it anymore. I've grown to love it. But I actually went to school for theater and acting. And when I got out of school, I was a yoga teacher. But my dad was a big shot sales guy. And he's built multi-hundred million dollar companies and brought a few companies public, rang the stock, the stock market bell? Yeah, on Wall Street. So he wrote this book called The Spirituality of Success, Getting Rich with Integrity. So he tried to train us all to be salespeople. He had 5 kids, all to be salespeople when we were younger. So of course that was the thing we didn't want to do. But when I was 24 or 5, I was teaching yoga and I was pursuing acting in New York, and he had just started. He just signed a contract to start a new sales team for a startup in New York, and asked me. He gave me, made a proposal I could not refuse, which was, come work for me. I'll teach you everything I know. You need to teach it to other people so that we could build this sales team together. And you'll work for free. You'll work on commission only. And then in exchange, I'll let you use my apartment in New York. So of course, no brainer. So as much as I didn't want to do sales, I ended up doing it anyway, but I learned everything from him. And also all the other, seminars and books that I, read. My whole bookshelf is stocked with them. As I got really interested in building this company and learning the art of sales and the science of sales. So it was there that I learned how to sell and also to recruit salespeople and train salespeople and manage salespeople, lead salespeople. So I ended up, my particular team ended up, I had about 30 sales reps. We did about 40 million. When we left there, it was acquired. It was 40 million in annual recurring revenue that we were bringing in, and which was, well over $100 million in total sales for my team. So after that company was acquired, I decided instead of, I also was pregnant when I stopped working there. So instead of going to work for another company and teaching a few people these things, I didn't want to build somebody else's company again. I wanted to build my own. So if I was going to help grow a company next time, it was going to be my own. And so I also started investing in social enterprise startups. I got really, really obsessed with that and learning all about this new, era of social enterprise. And there was one thing in common with all of them and businesses in general was the lack of ability to sell. So, sales make or break a business. There's millions of amazing ideas out there and amazing businesses and passionate people, whether they're, coaches teaching people one-on-one or they're techpreneurs with the next best idea. It's sales that make or break whether or not your great idea gets into the market, whether or not your passion actually can help people because if you can't get clients, you can't help anyone, period. So I found this deep need for sales, especially with techpreneurs who were so great at what they did and, the technology side of things, but didn't really understand the art of people and the art of sales. So I started training and coaching entrepreneurs and techpreneurs, and I love working with social enterprise, especially. So I started my own company, JPM Sales Partners, and we do virtual sales coaching for groups and one-on-one as well through our virtual training platforms. And I also use that to create digital sales playbooks for companies so that they can have a hybrid training and sales playbook, all virtual and all digital. So using the power of technology to help salespeople. So that's just a little bit about what I do. Who is this for? These Monday meetings, they're going to be great for anyone who starts their own business. So any kind of entrepreneur, especially people who are selling. My specialty is in high ticket selling. So anything over, a $500 commitment would be, where I specialize. And sales managers who need a little support training their sales team. Hey, if you want to turn me on Monday morning and that's your Monday morning meeting, then go for it. I'd be glad to support you. It's funny. You could say the same thing over and over to train your salespeople and give them help and tips and advice. But when someone else says it, all of a sudden, hey, I heard this great tip. I've been telling you that for 5 years. And so sometimes they need somebody else to hear it, in a different way, in a different format. And also I don't have the same, the relationship with them as you do on a daily basis, but also salespeople who want to seriously up-level their sales and need that support, that extra support. I know Mondays are the worst day of the week. I remember Sunday nights, I would start, worrying about Monday. I didn't want to get on the phone. I didn't want to make outbound calls. I didn't want to annoy people with emails all week. I just anticipated all the worst part of sales, people rejecting you and, saying no. And the one person once in a while who's like, you're wasting my time, it's a terrible feeling. So I would dread Mondays. And on Mondays, we would always do our Monday meeting. And so this is a replica of our Monday meeting to get you going, to give you practical advice, but also to get your mind in the right place so that you can accomplish your goals. You accomplish your sales goals in particular. And you'll find that what you pick up from these meetings is going to help you in all areas of your life. So it really doesn't apply just to sales. You can apply it to so many things that you want in life. There's a saying my dad always said. I actually just got off the phone with him because I told him I was starting up these meetings. And he said, remember, sales is life. Remember to tell them sales is life. and so, what you learn in your journey, growing into, this person that you want to be as this genuine salesperson who's helping people, making money at the same time. As you grow into that and your business flourishes, you'll see that all the things that got you to where you want to be in sales are also the things that you can apply to get you in other areas of your life, whether it's to improve your relationships with your partner or your children or your family or what have you, in your community and all that. So there's lots of different ways that you can apply what you learn in these meetings to life. So, and it's important that we do these on Mondays because Monday's the day where you set your intentions for the week. I mean, really, we should do it on Sunday night, but I don't think I'd get too many people to tune in on Sunday night. But Monday's the day where we set our intention for the rest of the week. What are we going to get done this week? We got to set our minds in the right spot and have intention, because I know my yoga teacher always told me, if you don't know where you're going, how will you ever get there? It's a simple concept, but it's so true. If you take 5 minutes, half an hour to set your intentions of what you want to do and create a plan for this week, You'll be proactive in selling and proactive in growing your business rather than reactive. Reactive, right? So reactive is where we're just bouncing back. The customers are dictating our schedule and what happens during the week instead of us dictating what our plan is, our plan of action, and then following through with that. Okay, so we don't want to be reactive, we would be proactive. So what to expect? We are going to, each week, we're going to start out with just a moment to just set your intentions to say, why am I doing this? And remind yourself why you're doing this in the first place, because I know it's easy to forget. And then we're going to go into accountability. So today I'm going to explain in detail what each part of the accountability minute is, but we're going to take accountability so we know where we are and where we want to get to. So we're going to go through numbers, metrics. Each week you're going to get used to tracking your metrics so that on Mondays you know exactly what your conversions are and what your numbers are, okay? And then you're going to set your intentions for how you want to manipulate those numbers. So how you want to change them or improve them. But you can't improve what you don't measure. I forget who said it. I'll give credit after. But you can't improve what you can't measure. So always make sure we're measuring our numbers. And then we're going to move into the marketing minute. The marketing minute is where I'm going to share with you one thing that I'm doing right now in my business to generate leads for JPM sales partners and for my clients. So it's just going to be one thing, and you can apply it or not apply it. You'll learn. We all have to bring leads into our business. So I'm going to share with you one thing that's working for me right now that you can apply. And then I'm going to do we're going to go into a motivation minute. So we're going to spend a motivation minute is when we go into, the mindset training, the mental toughness that it takes to really get through and break those barriers that are holding you back from where you want to be. Okay. And so we're going to chip away at that week by week to get your mindset where it needs to be, because all the sales tips and advice in the world will only get you a certain level of results. If you really want to launch into the stratosphere, into scaling your business and having the financial freedom that you desire and the flexibility of time and maybe being location independent, any of those goals that you have for your personal lifestyle that could improve, you need to make sure your mindset is working correctly first, right? Because what you know now and what you think and your beliefs now got you exactly where you are. And that's great if that's where you want to stay. But if there's any part of you that wants to improve, whether personally, professionally, financially, if any part of you wants to improve, some of those beliefs and thoughts have to change in order for you to get someplace else. Does that make sense? Okay, so we're going to work on that as well. So let's get started. And also, by the way, if you want to send me questions, I will answer them during the Monday meetings, or I will answer you personally or directly. Just email me at jessica@jpmpartners.com. Okay, again, that's jessica@jpmpartners.com. And if it's something we can, usually I'm really good at applying what are specific questions and answering them in a way that could help everybody. Sales is sales. So we'll talk. We can share those at the Monday meeting. Sound good? All right, let's get started. So first, I just want to take 30 seconds and everyone just stop. Take a deep breath. Close your eyes. Don't be afraid of looking ridiculous. Don't close your eyes if you're driving, please. God, thank you. And just for one moment, remind yourself why you're doing this. Why did you start your business? Why did you decide, if you're in sales, why did you decide to get into sales? Why did you decide to sell what you're selling? Why is what I'm asking you. The big question. Why are you doing this? The day that you made the decision to do this, why? Okay. You remember? And I say this because it's so easy when you get, busy in your business. It's so easy to forget why you started doing it in the first place. Okay. So if we always have that at the forefront, then we can be open to, learning things and changing things for the benefit of achieving that why. Because if that why should be strong enough that you're willing to do anything to get there. Okay. You're willing to be a little bit uncomfortable if something sounds like, oh, I never did that before. I don't want to do that, But the only thing that's going to get you, to someplace different, again, is doing things that are different and uncomfortable. But if you don't have that big why behind you, if you don't have that big why pushing you, then you're not going to withstand the discomfort. Does that make sense? Why would you put yourself through pain unless the reward was going to be worth it? As sales managers, please understand what your salespeople's why is. And I'm not talking about what their quotas are, what their sales goals are. Believe me, they don't care if your company grows or not. They don't care. They really don't. They care about what they're getting out of it. They care about their lifestyle and how their lifestyle is going to change and benefit. So if you're watching me and you're asking, how can I help my people grow? You need to know their why. Do they want to retire their husband? Do they, or wife? Do they want to travel more? Do they, want to take their partner on the cruise of a lifetime that they never got to do, or send their kids to any college that they want? What is your why? What is their why? Okay. If there's no why, we need to work on that. We need to work on that first and start dreaming bigger, and remember how we were when we were little kids and anything was possible. We need to get a little bit of that back so that we have that motivator and that drive to get us through those uncomfortable times where we have to change. So now that we have our why, we're going to jump into some numbers. How's that sound? Okay. Now, I am a little bit of a math nerd. If you guys know me, I was a mathlete in high school. I'll admit it. I think my mother even still has, some of my mathlete awards, because that's how much of a nerd I was. So, but it paid off. Let me tell you, that math nerdiness paid off because I just love numbers and how they always work. Do you know what I'm saying? I have like some mascara under there. So I love numbers and how they always work. And so there's so many unpredictables in business, right? You don't know if a customer's going to say yes, or what the market's doing right now, or would this stock market affect your sales or whatever. There's so many things, new laws and changes and regulations. But what is predictable is your numbers. Numbers are everything. So each week we're going to do a quick accountability check into your numbers of your business, okay? And if you are a salesperson selling for somebody else, this applies to you too, okay? Even if it's your sales manager running a report at the end of the week, you need to be accountable for your own numbers and improving your own numbers all the time. So I drew this for you now. I'm not even sure if it's coming backwards for you, but first I want you to write down how many outbound touches you made this week. Now, an outbound touch is on the marketing side of the business. So it's either a cold call, an email, a follow-up call, people you spoke with at a networking event, trade shows, went to trade shows, the conversations you had, okay? All the different kind of marketing channels that you did to generate leads. How many outbound activities did you do? Okay. Now, typically I would suggest that be at least 200. Okay. Every week, no matter how busy you are, how many appointments you have, you always need to keep filling this pipeline. And if you're in a position where someone else is providing you leads or some leads, let me just tell you that as a salesperson, the thing that's going to launch you to this next stratosphere, that's going to, triple, quadruple your quota, is taking responsibility for your own lead generation. Okay, so whatever you get from your company, plan to double it with your own marketing activities. So outbound, how many, outbound touches did you make? Write it down. Okay. If you're not used to recording these, make it goal for this week to make sure that you're measuring what you're doing. And then I want you to say how many of those outbound touches converted to leads. Okay. A lead is someone who expresses interest. Okay. They didn't say yes. They didn't even agree to an appointment yet, but they expressed interest. Okay. So how many leads did you generate this week? And then how many of those leads, how many turned into discovery meetings? A discovery meeting is either by phone, or if you're doing like a much larger sale, it'd be in person, but it's where you're qualifying the customer to see if they're a good fit, and also to see if they're ready to buy. So there's qualifiers for to see if they're a good fit for your product, but also sales qualifiers to determine if it's the right time for them to buy, and to make sure you understand who's buying, how much they can afford, who's got to be at the meeting before you present anything. And then of those discovery meetings, how many of those turned into presentations, demos, consultations? How many people committed and said, yes, I want you to, show me what you have? So how many of those did you do this week? For this, I would suggest being at, for most businesses, you want 10 to 15 of those per week. If you're working full time, so that's maybe like 20 hours of the week, half of the week, you're actually talking to people who can buy. And then how many of those converted to closed deals? Or how many closed deals, and then, the dollar amount that relates to that is attached to that deal. And we're going to talk about conversion rates in a second, but closed deals, how many of those? And then referrals. You won't hear this a lot. This is something kind of special to the way that I teach and my dad always taught, which was we don't judge how well we did by how many closed deals we got, but by how many referrals we got. This might be an interesting concept if you haven't heard it before, but closed deals are great. But when a deal closes, if you don't have referrals to follow up with, you have to start from scratch every week from zero. Now, you might be getting recurring revenue from that. That's great, but you always need to fill your pipeline. So you lost a person from your pipeline because you closed them. You closed that company. So to refill your pipeline, you either have to go back and cold call and cold email and do YouTube lives and all that. But if you have referrals, then those will go into the top of the pipeline. Does that make sense? So we want to calculate the referrals. We don't leave these up to chance. These are part of our marketing strategy and part of our sales strategy. So we count them, and it's also an indicator to how well we're developing relationships with our clients, and how well they feel like we're really there to help them. Because when they feel like they know, like, and trust you, not only will they buy from you if it's the right fit, but they'll also refer people to you. Okay. So now let's talk about conversion rates. Okay. Because it's one thing to have these numbers. If you haven't been tracking these numbers, now you know. You need to track your numbers for your business. Now you're in business now. So we don't, it's not just about keeping numbers for the finance, but we need to keep numbers to know, if we don't know how many outbound calls it takes to get to a closed deal, then we can't predict our business. Does that make sense? So we want to know, how many presentations do I need to get, X revenue at the end of the week or the end of the month? How many leads do I need to generate in order to get that number of closed deals? Got it? So that's why we do it. So like I said, on outbound, you need to be at a minimum of 200. Sounds like a lot, but it's maybe 4 hours of work when you think of it. And then if you're organized and you're ready to go and you're resilient, which we'll talk about later. And then if you don't have like 10 to 15 presentations in the week, then you should spend the rest of that time doing outbound. So additional to the 200. And then how many of those convert to leads is so dependent on the actual marketing strategy and on the business. So anytime it's something that you meet someone in person, like a networking event or a trade show, those are going to convert at a higher percentage versus a cold call or a cold email campaign. Okay. So then how many of those turned into discovery meetings? I would aim for at least 50% of generated leads to enter into the discovery process, and then 50% of those to agree to a presentation. So you can kind of see if your numbers are way off of that, maybe something broke in there. And then of the discovery meetings for a presentation, the percentage that should close, if you're around 50%, you're doing okay. A lot of salespeople would die for 50%, but optimal, you want to, if you're getting to 80%, I think you're humming. If you're at 100%, that's actually not a great thing because it usually means you don't have enough. You're not doing enough presentations. Right? So if I did one presentation and made one sale, I have 100% close ratio. But that doesn't really help my numbers. It also means if you have 100% close ratio, you're not taking enough risks with your presentations. Like you're overqualifying people. You don't want to, go out and meet with someone unless you're sure they're going to buy. Which, sometimes you just have to risk that that some people are going to say no. That's part of the process. And then, so the number that converted from presentations to closed deals, the amount of revenue obviously is dependent on your business. If you have a low ticket item, you're going to want to close more deals, obviously. The only way these numbers maybe change a little bit is for really high ticket, like $100,000 software packages, things like that. Then you might be not doing as many presentations in a week, but you're still going to need to be doing discovery meetings and generating leads. So different kinds of businesses. Most people I work with are, selling products between like an annual like $1,000 and $50,000 commitment. So, and then of those closed deals, how many referrals did they give you after? And of course, the only way that you're going to get those is by asking for them. There's a stat, and it says that Dale Carnegie did a poll, I guess, a study, if you want to be more official. And it said that 90% of customers surveyed said that they would give referrals. 90%. Guess how many salespeople ask for them? Only 14%. So 14% of people are actually asking for referrals, but 90% of your customers are saying they want to give them. Now, there's other things working against us, which is people are more likely to talk about a negative experience than a positive one. So even if they have a great experience with you, they're not going to tell people unless you remind them. So we always ask for referrals so that we can refill the pipeline. Got it. Okay. So write down what those numbers are. If you have to go look them up after the meeting. And get in the habit of doing this every Friday afternoon or whenever your week ends, and tabulate where was I this week. I have a tracking sheet that I actually keep by my desk. CRMs are great for certain things, but I love to have a sheet by my desk when I'm prospecting or when I was in sales where I could check off the boxes, do tally marks to make sure I really was doing 200 outbounds, because it's really easy not to do it. And no matter where you are in your business, you always have to fill that pipeline. Otherwise, your business has an expiration date. We don't have an expiration date on our business. So no matter where you are, you're always spending at least 4 hours a week prospecting, and optimally, half your week talking, actually giving presentations or demos to people who are qualified to buy. The rest of the time doing discovery meetings. That takes you to about 30 hours a week. So that other 10 hours is up to you how you want to spend it. Maybe you want to go out to lunch every day. That's cool. Or you can spend more time prospecting. Try not to spend it on paperwork because that's really boring. Get someone to do your paperwork for you. Okay. I'm going to push this aside. All right. So that's our accountability session. This week I went in and explained what each part of it was, but normally we're just going to go through and you're going to have time to actually write down your numbers, and my hair's messed up, and then decide how you're going to change them for next week. So on to our marketing minute. So I'm gonna do these like a news show in the morning. Like you have 10 wins with a dude. Here's your traffic and here's your weather, but it's gonna be all sales and business motivation related. So marketing minute. Let's talk about marketing for a second. Okay, I want to give you some really actionable takeaways that you can start implementing each week. Make this a super valuable time with me, so that you have both practical and theoretical ways to improve your business. So marketing minute is where I'm going to teach or share one thing that's working for me right now in my business to generate leads. For the past 3 years, as I've been building my business, I've been obsessed with learning the digital marketing aspect of business, as my company is completely virtual and global. And so I've been really, where I used to be, I was doing a lot of networking, either through LinkedIn, live networking, trade shows, as much as I could in person, but then like cold email, cold calls, I did everything. PR, even as a salesperson working for a company, I understood, and I'll give credit to Jeffrey Gitomer for this, the Little Red Book of Selling, because I remember learning a long time ago the importance of personal brand. So even if you're selling for someone else, building a personal brand where people are really buying and developing a relationship with you rather than the company, especially if you're working for a startup or a small name, where you don't have a big brand name company. It's all about the person that they have the relationship with, the salesperson, you. So even back then, LinkedIn had just launched, but I had developed like my own mini LinkedIn with my clients, where I was connecting them on my own webpage that I had put together, because they were all local in Manhattan, and I just saw different ways that they could work together. So, we talked about asking for referrals. Well, the best way to generate referrals is by giving them. So I'm always helping my clients, get clients. I'm always talking about their businesses to other people. But that wasn't the marketing strategy I wanted to share with you. I just wanted to share with you that even if you're selling for someone else and they're generating leads for you, or even, setting appointments for you, if you want to launch and take control, and if you ever want to start your own business, for sure, this, developing leads, developing marketing strategies that work is, it's a game changer. You just got to be able to do that. So, and when you have, people lined up to talk to you and people lined up to meet with you, so many of our sales problems go away. So, a lot of times when people come to me and they have this problem, that problem, a lot of times it goes back to just not having enough clients. If you get so hung up on one person not closing, not saying yes, sometimes the only real problem is that was the only person you spoke to this week, and you're trying to analyze, how do I turn someone who wasn't a good right fit into someone who is, right? So So this week's marketing minute, I'm going to talk about actually what I'm doing right now, since today is our first ever Monday morning motivator meeting. Because here in Pennsylvania, I'm outside of Philly, it is still morning. So I'm going to talk about this YouTube Live and why I decided to go YouTube Live and what I'm going to do with it to develop a lead generation strategy for JPM partners. Sound good? And again, even if you're a salesperson, think about, before you say like, this can't work for my business, anytime I share this or any other strategy, instead of like, totally missing the opportunity, let's change our minds and say, instead of saying this can't work for me, this won't work for me, think about, how can I make this work for me? How can I make this work for my business? Because yes, every business is different. But there's something that you can garner from what's working and what other people are doing that you can incorporate into your own business. Even if you just, serve local residents, you can use some of these things. So Facebook Live, no, I'm not on Facebook, I'm in YouTube. YouTube Live, why I decided to do YouTube Live. So I've always wanted to incorporate this idea of Monday meetings into my coaching practice. But then I realized that Monday meeting is really something everybody can benefit from, no matter what they're doing, to get them started and fueled out through the week. Coincided with this guy in my local area who's just begging me to start a podcast, right? Like everyone is begging you to try. You have to do this. If you're in business, you have to have a podcast. If you're in business, you have to be doing social media. You have to be doing all these different things. But of course, we can't do everything. So I had that in the back of my mind too. And I also knew that I have almost no YouTube following. So if you're watching me on YouTube now, please subscribe, because why not? You'll get alerts when we go live every Monday. So YouTube's pretty special in that Google owns YouTube. So if you notice when you search something in YouTube, in Google, one of the first second results that come up are videos related to what you search. That's because Google owns YouTube. So they're trying to promote both channels. And so posting on YouTube actually helps your SEO, your search engine optimization. When people are searching for what you do, you'll pop up higher in the results, right? So SEO is something everybody can benefit from. Another thing about YouTube that I just kind of made sense and clicked to me and learned was that when you post a video on, say, Facebook, or even on your own website, but let's say Facebook, is a lot of entrepreneurs are there, and it's a great place to meet and connect with people. When you post something on Facebook, especially in your business page, if people see it, which only a very small percentage of people will see your business posts, it has a very short shelf life, right? So if they don't see it within a couple days, they're never going to see it. It's never going to pop up in their feed. If they go to your page, they'll see it, but it's not going to pop up in their feed. It just gets lost. It goes into Never Never Land. So it has a short shelf life. On the other hand, YouTube's actually the opposite. So when something's posted on YouTube, of course, it starts with 0 views, right? But as it grows, as the number of views grow, the more likely it is to turn up in people's search results, because it becomes more popular. So it could be 3-5 years down the line. Now you have, thousands of views on this video. It's going to bump up when someone types in the keywords that are attached to your video, whatever you're talking about. So it's the opposite effect of both of those things. So that's why I chose YouTube. I chose live because I don't really have a fear of going live. I know some people do, but I chose going live because I know Google promotes live videos, and a lot of people watching right now only know about this because Google promotes live videos. And so that's why I chose YouTube, and that's why I chose live. But what am I going to do with this after it's all done? So the plan is each week, after this is over, I'll save the video. It's going to, be on YouTube forever, but I'll save the video. I'm going to use the video and upload it to Facebook. I'm also going to send it to my transcriber, where she's going to put this all in written form, which is then going to go onto my blog with a link to the video. The reason why that's important is because SEO really depends on keywords in your blog posts, and also a updated blog, right? So when they see that you're continually adding content to your website, Google perceives that as more relevant than someone who's has a stale website that hasn't been updated. So again, that goes back to SEO. So having the transcript there, and then that's going to be something that I send out to my email list as valuable content. Say, you missed the Monday meeting, here's what we talked about. And then the transcript as well as the video is then going to get sent off to a team that's going to chop it up into a bunch of pieces. And they're going to make quotes, social media posts that have quotes. So they'll pull things from here that are quotable. So we can put that in our social media calendar. And then the audio is going to go into a podcast that we'll be launching. I'm actually going to wait. I was told I should do 8 before we launch the podcast, because people like to binge watch, binge listen to podcasts. So we'll do that when we have about 8, and we'll post that. So now we have a podcast. So you see how I'm using this 1 hour, less than 1 hour, to create content, to deliver value, to help people in my target audience. But then I'm going to repurpose that so that it's not just, so it doesn't disappear and go away forever. Okay. I learned that from Gary V, actually, Gary Vaynerchuk. So he, that's pretty much what he does. He'll give an hour-long speech or training, or, even if it's live somewhere, and then they'll record it and they'll chop it up and they'll do 2-minute videos and they'll share that. And I think he even makes GIFs, so that when it pulls up in your iPhone when you're looking for the perfect GIF, he'll show up there. So it's not about spending hours and hours creating content, but repurposing it in multiple ways so that you can be everywhere, but driving people to one place. So I'm driving people right now to my free training, and we'll talk about that at a different time, what that is. But that's where prospects enter my marketing funnel. So they go oh, I think this lady can help me. And then they click on something to get them to show that they're interested. So for you, it might be a white paper, and anything that you're sharing at the end, the call to action is to take them to the next step. Make sense? Okay. So while I'm saying that, go ahead and sign up for my next free training at freetraining.jpmpartners.com, where you'll learn the science behind why people really buy the one thing the best salespeople know that you can use to make more sales instantly. That's the free training I'm doing. And you can sign up for the next one at that link. So that is Marketing Minute. If you have any questions about that, go ahead and email them to me. I'll be happy to answer them for you. And you might say, Jess, how could you share your marketing secrets with the world? Why would you do that? People are just going to steal it. Other sales coaches are going to steal it. The reality is only a very small percentage of people that are hearing this are actually going to follow through. Unfortunately, that's just the numbers. So few people take action in this world. So I would encourage you to be that small percentage of people that go, okay, I learned something new. Sounds cool, but now I'm actually going to do it and execute it. There's millions of great ideas in the world. I promise you. I work with lots of startups and investment groups and incubators and stuff like that. I hear great ideas all the time. It's all about execution. Okay. You need to execute. So please be that person that says, hey, I think I might try something like that. Or maybe it's not YouTube Live. Maybe my audience is on Facebook, or I'm going to do something on LinkedIn or whatever. Use this and use it in a different way to help you. Okay, we're closing out Marketing Minute, and now we're on to Motivation Minute. Maybe we'll get some music for our Monday Motivator meeting. Does that sound good? I could write it. I do write jazz music, so it would definitely be like, I write swing hip hop music, which I know it's very niche, but it's my niche. So I'll tell you about that on another day. But here's what I wanted to talk about today as far as mindset and motivation, and really like that one thing that's going to get you to maybe apply some of those things we talked about, metrics, and to apply some of those things we talked about, marketing, to get more leads into your business. And that's mindset training, right? It's mental toughness. It's developing the mindset that you need to be a champion to get you from where you are to where you want to be. It's as simple as that. What you know now, what you believe now, got you exactly where you are. And believe me, I totally understand. I think I was just lucky enough to go through this younger, and I had, my dad barking at me 24/7 about mindset and mental toughness. But believe me, I've been there, and I had to go through all those changes and the mindset changes. But I think if the first step is to accept that if you're not where you want to be, then you need to change how you think and what you believe, because your beliefs determine your thoughts. Your thoughts determine your actions, and your actions determine your outcomes. I'll say that again. Your beliefs, what you believe about the world, what you believe about your sales, what you believe about your clients, your product, all that, your beliefs determine your thoughts. Your thoughts determine your actions, right? You decide to do something and then you do it. And then your actions determine your outcomes, right? What you do, what your results are a direct result of what you do. So it all goes back to belief. So when I talk about mindset and motivation, I know just from working with hundreds of salespeople that this is the thing that launches them, that gets you through when you're hitting a plateau, or you're just not where you want to be. And again, this applies to life too. I was like, my dad said, make sure you tell him sales is life. Yes, sales is life. He's retired now. He's on a cruise in the Bahamas somewhere. So Motivation Minute. I wanted to tell you about something that happened to me on Friday. So you guys know I'm a mom, which is a huge part of why I work from home, and I don't want to work for somebody else in their office. I work from home, and I take my kids to school every day, and we have lunch together. I have lunch with my little kindergartner every day. Well, I was driving my kindergartner to his morning program at 8:30 on Friday, and we got hit by a car that ran a stop sign, like totally blew the stop sign because the sun was really low, which it was that day. The sun was low, and it blinded her, and she's not from this area, and she just totally blew the stop sign and hit us in the side. And it didn't look that bad from the outside, but the impact was pretty bad. The airbags went off. It like smacked me in the face real hard. My son's screaming in the back, like he's 5 years old. I don't want to die. There's all this smoke in the car from the airbags. And so the BMW was totaled. It was an SUV, so I was, happy that we were in a strong car and everything. So it didn't look like a big accident from the outside, but it was enough to deploy the airbags, which kind of totaled the car, which did total the car. So my first reaction, and I forgive myself for this reaction, but my first reaction after the stars went away, I didn't pass out, thankfully, was to get out of the car and like start a fight. Like really, I was like, like I had that same reaction that I think most people would have, like that, fight or flight. I'm definitely the fight person. If you don't know, I also am a competitive martial artist. So it's in me to like go in. Yeah, I'm going in. But that was maybe half a second. And then after that, I was aware of all this smoke in the car and my son screaming. And I thought, oh, we should get out of the car. I don't know what's going to happen next. Right. So I get him out of the car and we go to the side, and then, and we were fine. Just, bumped and bruised and stuff, went to the hospital. They checked us out. Everything was fine. And then I came home. So we got home from the hospital like 10:30. My husband left work and picked us up. And then at 1:00, I had a sales call, and I thought about canceling it because I was in a car accident and I was genuinely like really flustered. I was physically okay, but very flustered. And I had a great excuse. I'll share a secret with you. Even at this stage in the game, after thousands of sales calls and thousands of deals, I'm like, there's still a little part of me that right before a sales call, I don't want to do it. and I thought that would go away as I, did it more and got more successful. I mean, I brought in, $100 million in business and had multiple six figures in earnings, but I always still feel like I don't want to I don't want to do a sales call. So I was like, cancel, but I decided not to. Just go through it. Thankfully made the sale, but that's not the point, because it wasn't the point whether or not, I was going to make a sale. I had this moment where I had to make a decision if I was going to give in and cancel my calls for the day, or if I was going to rebound and be resilient, come back and take the call. Okay. Now, there's a couple reasons why I chose to take the call. One is because I didn't want to feel too sorry for myself. I mean, I wasn't bleeding. I didn't have anything broken. Like physically, I was okay. Mentally, I wasn't okay. But I knew that if I was, felt sorry for myself, that wasn't going to help. But secondly, and I think this is the important part to take away for everybody, is that my intention is always to help people. The only reason I started this business was to help people, to leverage what I know to help people grow their businesses and grow their passions and get their amazing ideas out into the world. That's how I see myself fit into the ecosystem, into the startup and social enterprise ecosystem, is teaching people how to close deals and bring in business. And so had I not taken that call, for a person basically asking me for help, when someone sets an appointment with you, they're asking for your help. Had I not taken that call, I would have been going against what my why was, which was to help people. So I had this behind me going, well, you're doing this to help people. So how are you helping someone by taking the afternoon off? But this brings me to a key word, and the key word is resilience. So resilience is a really important concept for success and for sales to keep going. And it's this concept of bouncing back, right? So it's not about how many times you get pushed down. It's not about how many times you fail. You're going to fail a lot. Every time a customer says no, or looks at your ad and doesn't click on it, that's a failure in a way. Every time you make a cold call and the person says, no, I'm not interested, or why, please don't waste my time. All of those things knock you down. But it's not about how many times you get knocked down. It's about how many times you get back up and how quickly you get back up, how quickly you get back in the game. So like I said, I'm a competitive martial artist. I say that with a little giggle because I never considered myself an athlete. I told you I was a mathlete, right? So now to think of myself here, almost 40 years old, and I'm competing in advanced black belt divisions of martial arts is just like silly to me. But it's the same thing is true for sports and athletes, football. I mean, if every athlete, took time to, cry it out after they got knocked down on the field, like with the whole team, half the team would be on the bench waiting to come back in. So you're going to get knocked down. You're going to get tackled. You're going to get hit in the face. You're going to have an airbag go off, and smack you in the face and have fender benders and yeah, people telling you no and screaming at you and all those things. Like that actually does happen once in a while. But the question is, how quickly do you bounce back? So for instance, in sales, let's say you have a huge deal that you made, you took it all the way to the end, so excited, you were getting a multiple digit commissions on this deal, right? 5-digit commissions. And then right at the last minute, they pull out and they say, we went with someone else, or whatever the reason was. How long does it take you to get back to your desk or whatever and make the next phone call to start drumming up business for the next meeting, for this outbound activities that we talked about? How long does it take you? Do you go out and go like, I'm taking the rest of the day off and I'll go out to drinks with my colleagues, and then maybe tomorrow I'll start, but then tomorrow you're hungover, so then you wait through the weekend and really Monday you start getting back going, right? So now you just gave up like 4 days of your business for one person who said no. Or if you're, cold calling or making outbound calls of any sort, and someone says or emails you back or says, you're wasting my time, please don't call me again. And it gets you upset. I mean, we take it personally because we're trying to help people, right? Or, just doing our job, marketing. So do you go around the office and tell, 5 people what just happened and how rude somebody was to you, and then, mess up their mindset because they're trying to stay in the game too? Or do you make the next call? Like how long does it take you to dial the next number? So that's what I'm talking about when I mean resilience. It's that rubber band, a healthy, strong rubber band bounces back, and a weak one kind of stays open or it just breaks. So thinking about that, what is it that you can do to be more resilient? Okay. So it's one thing to recognize, like, maybe I'm not the most resilient person because I kind of like to, whenever someone says no to me, I eat a pint of ice cream and then I get mad at myself and I go to the gym for 2 hours to work it off. So, how did I know that? Right. So that's part of it, right? That's not being the most resilient you could be. So recognizing, okay, I'm not the most resilient person, but what does make a resilient person? If you think of this concept of the rubber band, what makes a rubber band when you pull it? What makes it not break? What characteristic does it have? Flexibility, right? So when you think of flexibility, we think flexibility in your mind, to be able to bounce from one feeling to another, to be able to control your emotions. But also, I have a really strong belief in flexibility. You can see a bruise right there from the accent. Flexibility of body, and flexibility of body and how that relates to the flexibility of your mind. And those of you who are really active, I think you can appreciate this, that when your body is flexible and agile, and that doesn't mean you have to do yoga, it just means that you got to keep your body moving. And my grandfather was 96 years old when he died. Until the day he died, well, maybe not the day he died, okay, until he got really sick, every morning he would get out of bed and touch his toes, right? So he understood, he wanted to maintain flexibility. But there's a really great correlation to how the flexibility in your body relates to flexibility in your mind, and how those two work together, and your openness to be able to take something in and then let it out and keep going to the next thing. If I had gotten to the car accident and my body was stiff, let's say, I didn't work out. And so when you don't like stretch and work out and stuff, your body your body gets stiff and it starts to, kind of hold itself differently than, let's say, like my 5-year-old who's, super flexible and elastic. If you get in a car accident and you're stiff, you're going to get a lot more hurt than if you're flexible and your body's able to move easily. Does that make sense? So that's like a physical example. But when you're in sales, it's someone saying no to you, someone knocking you down, the haters. Hate is going to hate. They're just there. Are you going to whine about it and bring down 10 other people because of it? Or how much do you believe in what you're doing that you can bounce back? How much do you believe in what you're doing that you can bounce back? If you don't believe in what you're doing, please do something else. Or, which is probably more of the case, remind yourself why you're doing what you're doing. Because it circles back to the beginning of the meeting, which is why? Why are we doing this? So think about this week. We talked about a couple things. Oh, the other thing I wanted to talk about after the accident, I was reminded how all these things I worry about in business, they're really not that serious. So having that lightheartedness about what you're doing and when you're selling, really to be yourself and not put on like a character of someone super serious. I see this all the time when people do corporate selling. They think they have to be all serious and, not tell jokes, and they turn into a different person. But be yourself and lighten up, because really, in the big scheme of things, losing one deal you're not losing it because you never had it. not making a sale is not the end of the world. Okay. So let's set our intentions for next week. We're about to finish here. Like I said, we're going to try to keep this to a half hour, but today I went into tons of detail. 1, your numbers, keeping your metrics in line for the week, keeping track of what you're doing. Okay. The only way you can change your numbers is by knowing what they are in the first place. 2 is setting intentions. What do you want your numbers to be this week? Okay. I'm not your sales manager, so you're not doing this for me. You're doing it for you. Okay. You're doing it for you so that you can improve. And then number 3 is the marketing minute. How can you use what you learned about YouTube Live and marketing, social media marketing, repurposing content and SEO to help you in your business? And then the motivation minute. How are you going to be more resilient this week? Just this week. Those are the things that we're going to work on this week. And we'll talk about them next week. And I would love if you shot me an email. Again, it's jessica@jpmpartners.com. I'll probably get a ton of spam messages now that I put my email out there, but whatever. That's part of being in business. And let me know if you have any questions, because again, if it's a question that is relevant and can help everyone, I will answer it on the meeting on the Monday morning motivator meeting. I'm going to still have to get used to what I'm calling this thing myself. The Monday morning motivator meeting. Until next week, I will see you at 10 a.m. Eastern in the same place, the same time. It's going to be sublime if you remember your why. So I just made that up. It's terrible. All right. Have a great week, everyone. I'm here. I'm on your side, and I want to see you win. Bye.